welcome to the 4th episode of Hot Chocolate with me, Rain. And today we're kind of a little different than the normal show goes. So usually I have a panel of people and I just ask questions. Well, this one's a little different since we are doing the EVE kind of Eve sports announcement. So today with me I have the EVE team. So myself, Biohazard, Bei Artjay, Elise Randolph, and Suitonia being the key people. I'll have them introduce themselves so you guys can kind of get used to their voices and whatnot. So first we'll start out with Biohazard.
Hello, I'm Tyrendian Biohazard. I am the technical director for EVE TV and the mainstream producer for the EVE Sports.
All right, and Bei?
Hey, I'm Bei. I worked with Nash on EVE stuff and mainly concentrate on tournament stuff.
Elise?
Hello, I am Elise Randolph. I am the esports director. That's a pretty snazzy new title. It's pretty great. But I kind of do a little bit of everything, and I try not to break everything, and kind of just work it, see what happens.
And Suitonia.
Hi, I'm Suitonia. I do commentary and also do some producing and some raw stuff in the background.
All right, so that's everyone that we have here, and we have a big new announcement, and I really want to show you guys the video that we have. So I'm just going to show it first, and then I'll let everyone talk. Otherwise, I'm just going to be really excited and distracted, and I won't be able to lead the conversation. So I'll show you this right now. Let's see if it works. Oh my god, isn't that amazing? Look at those colors. I am like so excited with the new color scheme and that we're calling it EVE Championship instead of Collides or Fight Club. But for more about that, I'll let Elise talk about that. Elise, can you explain what's coming up with the next fall, winter, spring seasons?
All right, so basically we're transitioning from what we've learned from the last basically the last season. We're going to change things up a little bit. For the EVE NT Championships, we're going to have a major league and a minor league, and it's going to be a league or a season-long scoring system, sort of like how Fight Club was last year. So every time there's a match, you get points, and the points accumulate in a sort of ranking thing, instead of like a head-to-head match like the Clyde format was last year. So we're going full-on league schedule. It's going to be condensed a little bit. And there will be 16 teams hopefully participating in the thing. And the minor league teams, if you win the minor league, you get promoted to the major league for the next season. And when you are the bottom of the major league, you kind of get bounced down to the minor league to, even things out a little bit. Similar to how EPL and like football works in the world.
So it's kind of like...
So yeah, it's gonna be really fun, and the format's gonna be similar to Fight Club as it was last season, but it's gonna be way more condensed, so you guys can kind of remember what's going on. You don't have to look back. You don't have to take notes when you're watching esports or anything like that. So it'll be fresh in your memory. It'll be like the major leagues will play one weekend, and then the next weekend it'll be the minor leagues and the major leagues again, alternating back and forth for 8 weeks.
Awesome. That is so exciting to hear. And I'm super excited to see who gets picked. So I know you guys have already sent out some invites based off of the Collides and Fight Club winners, correct?
Yeah, we've sent out 12 invites so far. And obviously, as I said, there are 16 teams that will be in the EVE Championship. So if you guys want to get involved, what you do is you go to event.uk and then you go to the esports thing. And we can actually throw that link in the channel. And then there's a place where you can apply. There you go. Rain linked it in channel. So you can apply there, and we'll select the team. So unlike the Alliance tournament, you don't select alliances or corps or anything like that. We pick captains. And the captains will have to be able to pick a 10-man team, a 10-man roster. And there's actually a pretty cool wrinkle in there that halfway through the season, you can trade out a few players just in case, because I know it's a little bit hard on certain players. Some people have to go AFK, they have real-life commitments and all that stuff. So you'll be able to trade players for stuff. It'll be fun. You can probably trade them for a milkshake if you wanted to. I don't know. We don't make the rules for that and how the trades work. We just give you the mechanic to trade. So yeah, the captains will be picked based on the teams that they can put together and their competitiveness and all this. We have this like really complicated metric for judging prospective teams. But the TLDR is you should apply to play because it's really fun. It doesn't take that much effort. The format's going to change a little bit this year, this season, so we can talk about that a little bit later. So it won't be like, oh, we have to practice for 40 hours a week for 10 weeks just to be competitive. No, none of that stuff. It'll be max fun, and there are some really, really fantastical prizes that you can win.
So, speaking of prizes, do you want to get into prizes now, Elise?
Oh, do I? Oh, we've
Yes.
got actually like so many cool prizes. So last season we gave away these unique Typhoon ship skins, and I don't know if you could like throw that up on the screen for what we had last season. But this season we're swapping it over to the Apocalypse. CCP made us unique ship skins for the Apocalypse, and they are incredibly, incredibly beautiful. They follow the same kind of color scheme as the oh, Suitonia linked it already. Oh my god.
So I'm also
Okay, you
showing
guys
I'm
should
showing it
just
on the
click on
screen
that.
though. It looks a lot better like watching it live, but thank you, Suitonia.
Yeah, it's actually incredibly beautiful, and they are unique to the EVE NT championships. Like you can't get them anywhere else, and we're going to be getting 513 of them. The Major League, we're going to split them up in a way that they'll get 355 of them split around, and the Minor League is going to have 150 of the skins to pass around for the teams. So it's pretty good. If you finish first in the Minor League, it's basically better than finishing 4 to 8 in the Major League. So there's a reason to play if you're just entering, even for the minor leagues. The minor leagues get like massive prizes, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And if you're good at math, you understand that like I said 513 ship skins, and I just listed 505 of them. So that leaves 8 ship skins like dingling out of nowhere. And what we're going to do with those is, for the people that watch for each of the 8 weeks, every single week we're going to give away one of the ship skins to the viewers. And that is something that's really special. And that's actually not even all that we're giving away. We've got some pretty cool sponsors as well. To give away like actual physical stuff that you can hold. So obviously EveBet is a sponsor and CCP is a sponsor, and you'll be able to bet on EveBet every week based on performance that you expect for the matchups. But we also have Cooler Master and Plantronics, and we'll be giving away every single week. We'll be giving away a Plantronic headset, a Cooler Master keyboard, a ship skin, and an EVNT shirt, limited edition shirt, to viewers. So it's just kind of incentive for you guys to watch because it's really, really fun. And free stuff is also really, really fun. So it's like double fun. Fun squared even.
So about those ship skins, so I know some people aren't generally a fan of cosmetics or ship skins, but they do have quite a pricey monetary value, correct?
Yeah, it's hard to guess exactly how much it's going to be, but the last ones were for the Typhoons were going for between like 15 and 30 bill each. Obviously, there are going to be more of these than there were of the other ones, but it should be a pretty decent number. Like, it's going to definitely be worth your time to spend 8 weeks to do this. Like, you'll get a Titan basically when you win, or you'll get actually even if you win the top tier league, you'll get like kind of Mondo bucks.
Yeah, there's actually buy orders for the Typhoon skin for 12 billion in Jitter right now, and sell orders are for 19 billion. So I mean, they're worth at least 12 billion, probably more.
Yeah, it's worth adding that the way the prizes are actually structured is that if you're in a lower tier league team and you complete all 8 of your matches for that season, then you'll like the bottom team still walks away with 10 skins. So like signing up will get you one of these shiny, and completing the season will get you one of these shiny skins. Not just the winners. The winners will get a lot more than you will, but.
Yeah, and I do know that Nash was saying earlier that these even t-shirts are actually limited edition. So not only are we giving them away, but you can also get them if you go to any of the even tea meets that they have around the UK. So a lot of limited edition and really fancy things. I know I'm really excited, and I'm not even playing in them, so. All right, so there were with the new tournament. I know I've gotten a sneak peek being part of the staff, so I've gotten a sneak peek seeing as how the new system's going to work. I know we are styling it more towards Fight Club and Bei and Suitonia. I don't know if you guys want to get into that. Maybe Suitonia first with talking about the fittings.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
Do you want to talk about how the new systems or the new season's going to work with the fittings of the ships?
Oh, instead of the fittings being fixed, we're now allowing the captains to, or the team to specifically fit the ships that they have chosen.
So essentially, in the old format that we had for Collides, which was kind of like what was more or less the major league of the last season, what we had team captains do is we had them not only pick what ships they wanted, but they'd also get to select the actual ship fittings. And that turned out to be like a little bit daunting for many of the newer teams that wanted to get in, because like it was Alliance tournament format, and a lot of these teams have like incredible Alliance tournament pedigree, which is like half a decade's worth of essentially knowledge and skills in coming up with doctrines, archetypes, and stuff like that. So what was possible to happen, and you see this in the first week of the Alliance tournament or so, is that teams would win not by virtue of their piloting skill; they would just win because their team comps were that much better and more practice and stuff like that. So it's not even a competition really, and that's not really fun for anyone competing, and it kind of seems like a lot of work. What we did with the Fight Club format to try out a few theories, and this was essentially Bei and Suitonia's idea, is we had static fittings. So we were like, okay, you can select from these ships, and we have them pre-fit. Now, a lot of people were like, "Oh, pre-fit ships, this is boring, whatever." But we've addressed that for later on, which Bei can describe later. But for right now, I just want to tell you guys what the format is going to be. So basically, you pick from a certain set of ship types, and the ships will be pre-fit, and that makes it easier for. Okay, I don't want to say easier, but it makes it less daunting for newer teams without Alliance tournament pedigrees or practice, because Event Championship isn't like Alliance Tournament Junior, and we don't want it to be. We want it to exist by itself and be very entertaining, not only to play in but to watch. And we found out through testing with last season that this format is really conducive not only to the viewers but also to the new teams that are playing, and it's really quite great. And Bei can talk about exactly what's going to happen and exactly how we're going to add a new level of complexity to the whole thing.
Yeah, so the fixed fitting thing I realize is contentious, and for the reasons that Elise just beautifully stated, we're going to go with that as an experiment, as we believe it's going to offer the viewers the best experience, and also still be fun for the competitors. And so obviously, a lot of the veteran tournament captains are kind of I guess maybe still on the fence about that system, and so basically to make things more complex for them, we're going to be introducing a banning system, much like you might see in other MOBAs like Dota and League of Legends, so that basically the complexity comes with regards to strategy of how you set up your team, not in the fittings, and although there's a little bit of wiggle room with drones and things, I think we're still going to keep that, but it actually comes when you actually have to pick your ships. We're going to make captains make tough decisions about whether or not they want to ban Logi or bring Logi, things like that, whether or not they want to ban E-War or try and force the other guys to bring E-War because it's strong by not banning it, things like that. So the strategy is going to be very much placed on the banning system, and this means that it's something that a couple of guys can do in their Slack channels or their Skype channels, and not necessarily take the whole team to practice. The whole team can go out and fly in TQ and just get to know each other and practice well there, as well as maybe the odd practice session on CC. But it doesn't take relentless hours and hours and hours of testing individual fittings and how that's going to play out. during the matches they can actually plan and strategize with a smaller team or a slightly more relaxed environment exactly what they want to do in order to try and win. So that's something we're working on still. I'm going to do some playtesting over the summer, and we're working with a guy from Trillionaire who is a really, really good coder, and he's already made us a kind of prototype banning tool, which we use for Fight Club, so some of the Fight Club captains already know that. So we're going to develop that a little bit more, and hopefully these things will come together and create something really exciting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, most definitely. Oh, sorry, Rain.
No,
I just
it's
wanted to
so
add a
good.
few things. Like, so we don't want to make EVT championships easier, right? We don't want to make it so it's super easy. We just want to like level the playing field for everyone, so people's previous experience in the Alliance tournament don't give them a massive advantage like it did in the EVT Collides section last year. So as Bei mentioned about the banning tool, it adds a level of complexity that essentially we haven't ever seen before. So instead of the captain being a largely ceremonial role, the captain will be doing the picking and banning and essentially making the team comp as the teams are ready to fly and as the teams are ready to compete. So you have to, like, obviously you can have like pocket strategies and things like that that you can throw out, but you're gonna have to think on the fly and sort of do that, which really is unique to this format. And the complexity associated with it is going to be something that nobody's really has experience with. So it'll be hard and it'll be complicated, but it won't be something that people have an advantage with. So the competitors can feel like they're playing in a very competitive way, and with their general ship skills and their piloting skills and their synergy as a team will be tested instead of just like going on muscle memory and autopilot when they pick like a rock paper scissors sort of setup. So we feel like this is going to be definitely the wave of the future, definitely the way that a viewer will enjoy, but also competitors will enjoy competing in and trying with. Like EVE players are notorious for wanting to be the best at something and wanting to get good at something. So and being up for a challenge. So I think this definitely is a happy balance between between all those factors.
Yeah, and I know as a viewer, since I just kind of came into the Eve sports scene, I guess, this past year, I never really understood some of the bigger, fancier ships and kind of the mechanics behind all that goes into these type of tournaments. But with the whole pre-fits, where I'm then able to go onto the EVT website and see, okay, well, this is how a ship is fit. And generally, I know you guys that we keep it very similar to what you would see maybe on Tranquility. So, like, obviously the ships kind of fit into their role, so it's expected and nothing too outrageous or surprising. But I know as a viewer, that really helped me be able to say, oh, okay, well, the ship obviously is doing X, Y, and Z because of the fit, and I can see that while also being able to watch the tournament live instead of having someone like a commentator explain that to me. Because I know also as a commentator, it takes a lot of time sitting there and explaining the fits to people or explaining, oh, it looks like they have X instead of Y, so therefore they're trying to do this. Whereas it can kind of just come a lot naturally since it's kind of, if you have a ship, then you already know the fit, or at least some variation of the fit. And that way it's a lot easier to explain and to say kind of overall what's the strategy besides, oh, team A just has to kill team B in order to win. So that way it's a lot easier to connect with the viewers, even if they're newer EVE players or even if they haven't even played EVE at all. Because I know a lot of the bigger, I want to say, kind of esports or video game sporting events, they have it very simple where you can go in and look and say, oh, this person has health, this person doesn't. They're different colors, they're on opposing teams. Whereas EVE, it's not as natural to see that right away. And if you look within the chat, Nash under the EVT TV account just put a link for signups if anyone wants to get into EVE Sports. I know a lot of people have been asking me before, how do I sign up? How do I get into this? What do I do? And so Nash is posting all those links.
Yep, the next season will start October 2nd, I believe, and it will run for 8 weeks after that. I think we have a bye week during eVegas, but other than that, it starts October 2nd, so you do have some time. It will be after the Alliance tournament, so you don't have to worry about juggling your time between preparing for the Alliance tournament where you can win 7 trillion ISK, and then preparing for this thing where you could win 150 ship skins. Obviously, that's a decision that people are pretty easy to make, so we're going to avoid that. And there should be enough time between the Alliance tournament and the EVT championships where you players won't be burned out and such from competing. So it should be a pretty good balance. But what you guys should do is you should get in your applications as soon as possible, just so we can kind of make a decision and sort of weigh and you can get like your pilots in line and stuff like that.
Yeah, because the sooner you get it all sorted, the sooner you can practice, especially if you're not doing the Alliance tournament, which I know a lot of people now have been starting to prep for the Alliance tournament, even though CCP hasn't even made the announcement.
I
Same
wonder
every
what
year.
kind of nerds do that.
Yes, yeah, there was a lot of hype going on about the tournament already. I think it's gonna be really interesting this year. Sorry, I'm sidetracking. I shouldn't talk about Alliance.
No,
tournament yet.
you can go. I mean, that's kind of where this came from, right? Is people wanted the Alliance tournaments run by CCP, but the players, as always, want to do something on their own. So we have the EVNT people who are like, hey, we can run a tournament. And speaking of running own tournaments, we do have a new server for purely for tournaments. So the old tournaments used to be run on Singularity, which is the test server. And so obviously when CCP pushes new patches out to Singularity, there may have been issues, may have been problems, and we always had to have CCP kind of with us to help run that. But now CCP is kind of making a few new changes, so, including having the new server. I believe it's called Thunderdome. And so that way the players can kind of go in and run tournaments on their own and stream them on their own and not really have to rely on CCP so much, as well as avoid some of the bugs that may potentially happen within Singularity, obviously, because that's what Singularity is for, is testing out patches and whatnot. And I noticed
Yeah, exactly.
Go on.
If you were at FanFest or you went to the esports panel at FanFest, you heard Logibro talking about Thunderdome. I believe it's the test server, or the testing, or the tournament server, I should say. And that's where we will be doing all of our stuff, and that's where all the matches will take place, and teams will be able to potentially test there as well. Because if you've done any testing or any stuff like that for your Lions tournament, there's always like this real high level of annoyance when you test on Singularity before a patch comes out, where like ship fittings change and like just mods change, so you can't actually use them anymore. And then new mods exist, but they don't exist on the test server, but they will later. Like, it's just a gigantic can of worms, and you have to kind of do some guesswork. But with our own dedicated tournament server, #1 ever, it's going to be way easier to do. It'll be much better to practice with as well, because Singularity and Duality were never really meant to be practice servers. They're just kind of servers that you could practice on if you wanted to, but they were mostly meant for testing. So whenever we came to CCP and we're like, yo, we need like this to be more stable, they'd be like, well, it's a test server, screw you, we're not gonna, like, that's not what this is meant for. But they stepped up huge and they made a dedicated tournament server for us. Well, not only for us, but for all of esports, and Eve esports at least. And it's really exciting. Like, I'm super excited about the Apoc skins and the Plantronic set and the Cooler Master stuff. Like, that's really cool. But this, like, the tournament server kind of gets my juices flowing, as they say.
Yeah, we particularly have to thank CCP Logibro for that. And then as well as CCP Guard for the skins as prizes. I know both of them have been huge help in getting everything working for us. And then for a little more announcements, I know Apothne is in chat right now, and I think he's on TeamSpeak. Yeah, he's on TeamSpeak. But him and Squeebles are going to be hosting both the major and minor leagues of the tournaments next time. So they'll be kind of doing what I'm doing now, where I sit on camera and talk a bunch and kind of direct people and questions and whatnot. And then we have also...
Oh, that's actually a really good point. That's one of the things I wanted to mention as well. The commentators and the staff for EVNT were quite literally the best of the best. Like, all of the commentators from the Alliance tournament are on staff at EVNT, but that doesn't mean that there aren't openings for more people and stuff like that. So if you're interested in stuff, in commentating or producing or having any hand in EVNT esports or esports at all, feel free to drop me a line, either in game or out of game or on Twitter, anywhere that you want. Elise Randolph, Elise Space Randolph, in game, and if you want to kind of try out or kind of interview for like a certain position, or if you have some ideas that you want to see or that you think are cool, just feel free to hit me up and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, thank you. And I know we have Jane Fillion, former CSM, joining us as well. And he's going to be doing the producer team, which is what Suitonia does. So that will be really exciting to have him. But yes, we would always love new people, new faces, new commentators. It's always lots of fun. Sorry, I'm reading the Twitch chat, and people, you guys get very lewd. I'm so surprised. But if any of you have questions, feel free to ask those questions because we are more than willing to take questions.
Yeah, and as Suitonia did mention, this is a great time to slide into those DMs because that's where it goes down. As I say, it goes down in the DMs.
Yeah. So Nash has pointed out we do have one confirmed team so far, or team captain at least, and that's Battle Dog. So he says, I think it's 3 provisionals, which is Suleiman, Hoodie Mafia, and then Starfleet Commander. So I think that means they are still in the process of confirming their spots in the tournaments. So if you guys want to either fly with them or fly against them, hit them up or apply as well. Oh my gosh, you guys are talking way too much. No, Minx, I'm not asking that to Elise. He's replying to you. The only thing Elise does in Alliance tournaments is fly out of the arena, and we can always give him shit for that. It's always applicable.
Whoa.
That is applicable on every stream ever.
Whoa. Yeah, that's
He's not
why
flying
that's why I don't
himself
fly
out of the
anymore.
arena. He flies his team out of the arena. Get it right.
So I know Bio's just kind of been sitting here and not saying anything, and that's normally what Biohazard does because he's always the man behind the scenes. So Bio, do you want to talk about how great it is to stream?
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. It is great. I absolutely love it. There has been a lot of stuff that I've learned and capabilities of streaming that I just never even thought, ever imagined would be possible. It can be a bit of a technical challenge. There's been ideas that Nash and I have thrown around here and there that, or I should say, Nash throws them around and I end up shooting them down. But actually, an additional streamer is actually something that I've put calls out for Twitter. And there's actually somebody I need to get back to on that. But if anybody is interested in streaming, particularly doing the esports and broadcasting the tournaments, feel free to contact me as well, because I am looking for someone to help out with all of that.
You need to be talented and beautiful and have the patience of a saint.
I was gonna ask, what do you need for qualifications to stream? Because I know I'm kind of like an idiot when it comes to streaming things. I just like turn on my video game and webcam and call it good. But what kind of technical knowledge do people actually need?
Actually, not as much as you may think. A lot of the stuff that that you see on broadcast is all stuff that I can be able to give to you, all the tools that are necessary to be able to do the broadcast. There's things that I can give to another person. Really pretty much an understanding of like Open Broadcaster and how the different scenes and sources work. And even then, some of that can actually be given directly to another person to use. But also, being able to, a lot of it honestly is multitasking, because in any given time between matches, you're setting up for new team names on stream as the people come on grid, making sure standings are set, especially in cases where not everybody are underneath one alliance or one corporation. And where I tend to push the boundaries of the tech a little, of being able to take multiple feeds from different people, 3-4 additional people to use as a camera crew. So a lot of it's multitasking, being able to keep track of the timers that are going on, which is, I'm sure a lot of people that have watched the tournaments notice that I miss those quite often. But as far as for technical requirements, not too much. Just a familiarity with OBS and a willingness to do the behind the scenes stuff.
Nice. Okay, so if anyone wants to apply to be a streamer, let Biohazard know. It's actually super fun, and I know. Well, I guess I don't know if it's fun, but I assume it's fun because Bio keeps coming back and he hasn't quit yet. So. And Elise, there's a question in chat for you from CCP Logibro, and he says, "Hey guys, can I make a team? If CCP were to make a team, would they be allowed to compete?"
Man, I don't know if we'd pick them. Can they get 10 competitive people? It's pretty hard. Actually, a team with Logibro, Fozzie, Rise, Karker. I guess they need one more.
Can we allow that? I don't want to allow that. Pretty cool.
They should actually.
God,
we should actually do this. How do we do this? They make an ability that like the winner has to then face the CCP team to for ultimate victory.
Is that like a tiebreaker requirement? You have to face CCP.
Well,
Sounds like a FanFest event to me.
Oh, actually, that's okay. Yeah, this is a way better idea, guys. We just figured it out. We just figured it out.
Okay, so it looks like I don't think chat actually has any serious questions besides commenting on that haze.
Jokes aside, like Logibro is like one of the main reasons that we're able to do this event and this entire season and the previous seasons. He is incredibly useful and always there. Like he shows up on the weekends, like on his days off. Like I don't know, like when you guys are working, the last thing you want to do is go in and do work stuff on the weekend, and he does it week in and week out. So he's incredible, and we're really fortunate to have his support as well as all of other CCB support.
Yeah.
You're upset.
Go ahead, babe.
So you've upset him now. He says no more Thunderdome for you.
Oh no, the one
Oh,
I've been
no.
looking for.
Disaster.
Also, Christopher may have missed this question, but he's asking about being a commentator. And Chris, I know that Elise mentioned earlier that if you want to be on the team to do any sort of work, whether it's streaming like Biohazard does or commentating, to let Elise know. So you can just, I think what was the phrase, slide into those DMs on his Twitter, which I'm pretty sure you're following him. So just ask Elise.
Yeah, you can message me in game or on Twitter or on Skype or any version of social media that you have me on. That's fine. Yeah, if you are interested in either being a commentator or an analyst or a producer, just someone who does work behind the scenes, like anything like that, feel free to send me a mail. It'll be great.
All right.
We'll give you a tryout and see how it works, because like we always are looking for new talent and new ways to get people excited. Like the stuff that we do, like I personally think it's basically the best because we have the best people doing it. But that doesn't mean that other people can't add a new level of panache and flair that people will find entertaining. Like we've got like I think 1 or 2 new people that are confirmed to show up next season, who you will probably like. I don't know if I want to announce it yet because I need some sort of like gotcha stuff to drum up support later on. So I'll hold that in my pocket for now and dangle it ahead of you, in front of you.
All right.
But yeah, there will be new exciting stuff, and if you're interested, just holler.
All right, and then we have a question from Battle Dog, and he says, "Are you guys still considering palette transfer windows in the middle of the season?" Bay, can you answer that?
Yes, like Elise mentioned earlier, the function of that is to facilitate people, obviously. So there's 4 episodes per league. Obviously, that's going to be quite demanding on some people's time. They might find that halfway through the season they won't be able to finish the whole one. So we're going to allow people halfway through the season, where there'll be a 1-week break, to basically transfer out someone who can't carry on with someone who can. Now that does open up the option, of course, of transferring in someone who you maybe thinks better than one of your current players. It's hard for us to tell. So there will be a little bit. One of the criteria that will be anyone you transfer into your team during that halfway can't have already flown for another Fight Club team. Fight Club Even T Championship team. So it's kind of very limited, and it is aimed towards substitutes rather than transfers between teams.
So to clarify, are there going to be team-to-team transfers?
I think maybe we need. I can't remember. I don't think that's not the function. The function is to bring in substitutes, basically, for people who can't carry on. So Nash is saying that we did actually say yes, you can do team-to-team transfers. So I am actually talking complete shit. Forgive me. We'll see what happens there. It could be quite interesting with pilots maybe upgrading between teams halfway through. That could be quite interesting. That was kind of something we discussed earlier. When we were developing this, so I guess something I kind of wanted is maybe the opportunity for one of the teams who is an up-and-coming team who is graduating through the ranks to recruit better players from other teams to get all the way to the top. So that could be quite interesting. Something we don't really see in the Alliance Tournament because it's fixed. Once the practices start for Alliance Tournament, usually you're locked into your Alliance for that year. So that's something we kind of wanted to play around with. We have the opportunity to play around with that CCP don't. It's a little bit more tricky for them. So.
Yep. Okay. And there's another question from BattleDog as well. This one's a little different. He says, will there be slots on ships left for teams to fill as they want? For example, utility highs. So I know we already have pre-fitted ships, but he's curious to see if there's going to be like any spots left to kind of give some of the teams the ability to theory craft or utilize.
I believe the answer to that, and Bei will have final say on that, but I believe the answer is no. Drones, as just like in the Fight Club series, you'll be able to choose what type of drones you want, but most of the like the selection won't come down to ship fitting. It'll be like decision making in the setup and the pick and banning phase that Bei spoke about earlier. All that will add the level of complexity and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, the exact fitting criteria that we're going to be using isn't 100% nailed down. It'd be roughly similar to what we did in Fight Club. So the way I did in Fight Club, I basically when I fit the ships, or I get people to help me fit the ships, I kind of came up with a strict guideline on how I was going to do it. I didn't just kind of randomly fit things out of the box. So we'll be kind of doing a similar thing for this, so that things will kind of like be as you might expect them to be if you were fighting against a ship, roughly speaking, on TQ. You're not going to get an artillery Abaddon, for example, is the one I always use, that kind of exists on TQ in a weird way. You're not going to be able to see that. You're going to see either pulse lasers or beam lasers. Things like ECM drones, we're still working on the details of the criteria we're going to be fitting the ships with. So we haven't confirmed the details of those exactly yet. We're going to be working on those throughout the summer. We've got 5 months to work on these and make sure they're play tested properly, so that going into the opening of the championship, we should be pretty happy with where we're at.
All right, and then BattleDog also asks, what if there are dates set yet for the full rule release as well as ship fits? Which I know you mentioned we have 5 months, but that's 5 months until like October.
Sure.
So do you know like how approximately ahead of time? Oh, Nash is saying soon TM, so I think that's the cliche answer everyone uses.
Yeah.
They are ready when they are ready.
Yeah, I mean, this is a hobby. It's although I know we sound all very, very professional, but it is a hobby. We have real life's going on over the summer, and we have a Alliance tournament going over summer. So we aim to get them done as soon as possible. We're hoping to get the banning tool sort of finished-ish by the end of June, beginning of July, and then we're going to crack on with other bits and bobs after that. So certainly by the time you're going to lock in your pilots, which is going to be I think it's the end of August, or roughly, Nash. I'm waiting for Nash to tell me. Then by the time you lock in your pilots, you'll have a pretty good idea of the rules and the ships, and that'll give your guys an idea of whether or not they definitely want to commit.
Okay, and there was another question. I'm trying to read it because BattleDog's asking very specific questions, which I think were answered already as you were talking. Oh, he asked, will the new season include all ships in the game? Oh.
No.
Okay.
It'll be similar to Fight Club, if you remember how the Fight Club season went, where you pick a battleship, battlecruiser, cruiser, and a destroyer and a frigate to make your team comp.
Okay. And then there was another question. Okay, so Bio asks, as a tournament newbie, will the fits change from week to week, or will they kind of be consistent throughout the season?
So we'll try and aim for consistency. Like I say, within that 8-week block, I want to change as little as possible. But obviously, there may be, I'm not exactly sure the mechanics of the Thunderdome server, but if there's updates that might change a module here and there, if CCP are going to keep it in line with TQ or CC, I'm not 100% sure yet. But we might make tweaks to the ships as they go along for that reason. And also, it's easy to make mistakes without full play test. So like during the Fight Club season, I kind of tweaked a little bit here and there to try and balance things out a little bit. Logistics, for example, are particularly hard to balance, and it's trying to get the right balance between making them overpowered and underpowered and things like that. So we can kind of change that from week to week a little bit, because you don't have to theory craft so much about exactly how your setup will work, because of the banning tool is going to shake up the setup, so you can't come in knowing exactly what you're going to bring until right up until the end. It means you're going to have to be a little bit more flexible and adaptable to what ships you can pick. So it'll be more focused on you knowing exactly what the ships can do given their fitting and how you can fly them, your target calling, your teamwork, etc., rather than coming in with a kind of a ready-made setup that you know exactly what's going to do with it.
All right, and so I'll give Bei and Elise a chance to breathe. Suitonia, this question's for you. It's from Chris, and he goes, "What was the favorite comp from last season?" And I know you are the statistical, genius guru. So do you happen to remember what the favorite setup was, or at least the favorite few ships?
From the last season of Fight Club, there was actually quite a few different compositions. I think the one we saw a lot was like APOC Oracle with a Logi, and then generally just like a damp frigate if it was available, and then Algus. I think Algus by far was the most popular destroyer. I don't have the statistics in front of me right now though. But also I think the most popular band ship was towards the end was Tempest Hyperion, and like Maulus and a few other like support ships.
Okay, that sounds pretty accurate from what I remember. I think the whole team discussed that, or we're looking over it. And then there was another question, probably back to Bei and Elise, and it's talking about captains picking their players, and it goes, is it about the actual people, or is it more about the in-game characters? So if someone has alts, do they have to only play on the one alt, or can they play on multiple alts, or is it just the one character where different people could play on that character? So now, go on.
Sorry. I was waiting for Elise, but I can. So it's going to be the aim, the goal is that we focus on the pilots and the individual people behind those pilots. The character they actually play on TQ is obviously linked to that, but we really want to focus on the people behind those characters, and less on the need for characters with max skill points. We're still kind of waiting to get on Thunderdome to see what we can do with it, and exactly what the options are. But if there's an option for us to enable all pilots to have level 5 skills, I think that's something we want, just to make a really level playing field, so people don't have to pick their pilots based on, oh well, he can fly Tempest really well, but he hasn't got any Amar skills, or he can fly a damp. He's got damp skills, but he hasn't got ETM skills. We don't want. Ideally, I'd like it so that teams don't have to make those decisions, because obviously that gives veteran players with 200 million skill point characters to fly every subcap in the game maximum, gives them a huge advantage and makes things difficult for new guys coming in. So we're waiting to see the details of the Thunderdome server, what we can do there, but fingers crossed we should be able to keep it focused on the players that want to take part, their communication abilities, their teamwork abilities, and less on the number of skill points they have.
Yeah, exactly. The focus is not to just kind of hamstring you into just having a certain amount of characters that you can pull from, but it's the people. It's so you can compete week to week without having burnout, or without having to have people quit their jobs or anything like that. So if you have characters that want to fly on different alts, then we can make that work. As Bei was saying, hopefully we can make a setup or make it so the characters are basically all maxed out, or at least maxed out good enough. I'm sure we can get some skill injectors and kind of pass in between teams if we have to be super ghetto about it. But the goal is just to make it so the teams competing can show up week to week without having to have an undue amount of pressure on the real people behind it. Because we want, first and foremost, we want this to be a fun. We want this to be an experience that people look forward to doing, not feeling that they have to do something. So the focus is on making it so the competitors can compete without a lot of stress. Because without the competitors, then no matter what we do, the viewers won't even. If the viewers can't see a match, then it doesn't really matter. Everything is moot. So we just want to give teams the ability to basically to field the team without a lot of stress and a lot of crazy messing of schedules, especially during the winter.
Okay, that makes sense. And then this is a question for Bei, also by BattleDog, and it says, is the banning tool another EVE-NT coding special?
That sounds like a a question that's bait. I can't quite tell. So the banning tool is going to be, I guess it's something I'm working on designing. There's a couple of options on the table, people. I'm just kind of researching other banning tools from other things. I've got a pretty clear idea of what we want to do, and I'm going to work with a guy from Trillionaire, Vitor, who's amazing, and he's going to do a browser-based app, basically, that hopefully, fingers crossed, will be able to integrate with bio-streaming tech. So you'll be able to see the bans on stream that the teams have chosen. That's what you're asking, yes.
Okay, hopefully that answered his question. I guess he'll say in chat if it didn't. So, all right. So there was so Christopher Well mentioned something. He says if people are on staff, does that mean they can fly in the tournament? Elise, if you want to grab that question.
Yeah, they absolutely can. I'd like to avoid it. Like, I like to make it so like if you're playing in that exact matchup or in that exact league between the major league and the minor league, like I don't want staff that are in the major league to be able to like commentate on their own matches or something like that, anything wonky. But yeah, staff will be able to play if they want to. Like there are no special advantages for the staff or anything of the sort. They don't have access to the banning tool. Bei is the ultimate decider when it comes to the fits, so they don't get to be like, "Yo, why don't you make this like one ship super good and not tell anyone about it?" So there's no sort of advantage that they can get. And I know a lot of people who are interested in ED sports are kind of interested in competing and just like taking part of it. So we don't really want to stop that from happening.
Awesome. All right, so we have another question going. How many teams get relegated / promoted each season?
I believe it's the top 4 and the bottom 4. So the top 4 from the minor leagues get promoted to the major leagues, and then the bottom 4 from the major leagues get dropped down, or from the major leagues get dropped down to the minor leagues.
Okay, and if for those of you guys just tuning in, that obviously means there's 16 teams total, and that I believe 12 teams have already gotten invites. So if you want to be able to play in these tournaments, go ahead and apply. If Nash wants to repost that link, and then he also mentions the bottom 4 and the minor leagues get replaced with new teams, so that way it's not just consistently the same teams over and over once the teams are picked from season to season.
Exactly, yeah. So that's a really good point that I completely neglected to mention. Just to keep things fresh, we'll have 2 seasons a year. There'll be like a winter season and a spring season or something like that. And so if they won't always be the same 16 teams over and over and over again. And just to go over prizes one more time, because that's kind of what we led with, and if people kind of forgot what it was going to, we do have, and if we could show it up on screen being all fancy, we have a brand new skin for this season. It's for the Apocalypse. It is completely unique to the EVNT Championship Series. There will be 513 of them. 505 will be handed out between the winners of the major and minor leagues, and 8 will be handed out to just viewers each week. So there will be 8 weeks, so you get to watch. Every time you get to watch, you have a chance to win one of the fancy new ship skins. And on top of that, you have a chance to win a Cooler Master keyboard, a Plantronics headset, and an EVNT EVNT shirt. All of these are super fancy, and this is going to be the first time where we'll be able to give away like actual physical things during our stream. I know that they're at the EVNT actual meetups. They were able to give out physical things. This will be the first time on a streamed event for EVE where you can win like physical stuff as well as in-game stuff. And they are fancy as heck, as the kids would say. These skins are super, super pretty. I love the color scheme on them. They're the same color scheme from the Typhoon of last season, but this time they're just going to be on an APOC. And somehow they look even better on an APOC. And as I mentioned before, when I say these are unique, these are completely unique. There will be never a chance to get them outside of competing in the EVNT Championships.
Yeah, and I'm showing them on the screen again. I just think they're really pretty. I really like the colors as well. Normally, most of the ship skins in EVE, I'm not a fan of the colors, but These are really good.
Yeah, they look so good. It looks so good, and it's kind of sad that there'll never be any more than the 513 that we get out. But it's also, it just makes it that much more special.
Yeah.
You're going to be getting PL to start an APOC doctrine then, so you can have an excuse to fly one at least.
Yeah, we'll just swap over from. We'll just bring Foxcats back, but instead of using Navy Gens or Navy APOCs, we'll just use normal APOCs because they look so much cooler.
Yeah. All right, there was another question, and then I completely forgot it. Oh, so someone asked, do we get skins for winning matches or just based on position? And I know it's based on your overall position at the end of the tournament. So it's not based on, one day you win the most matches. It's not based on that. Though winning your matches will help you get those ship skins. So just be sure to win.
Yeah, exactly. It's based on your position, because it's a league. It's based on how many points you accumulate throughout the season. That's where your final position will be. Sorry if I didn't make that very clear. I did earlier in the show, but I didn't really mention it this time. So it's how you go through the entire season. It's not just winning one match and stuff like that. It's things like this.
It worked out really well in Fight Club. I was really happy. On the final episode, it came down to, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it came actually down to the final match.
Yeah, it
winner,
absolutely did.
And it was actually like between a point between who won and who didn't win. It was like I was on the edge of my seat, jumping up and down. I was watching instead of producing, and it worked out really well because obviously in the tournament you stack a lot of your hopes and dreams on one match, and the Alliance tournament rather. You stack a lot of your hopes and dreams on these. You train for 3 months straight. You come up with all your brilliant ideas. You fit everything, and then like one match, everything goes to shit. You call the wrong target at the wrong time, and all that work goes down the drain. It doesn't work. We kind of, although that is kind of like Eve at his best, being completely hard mode. We also kind of like the idea of people being able to climb up and down, and it being a kind of over time you prove your ability and your worth, and a kind of like persistence rather than just one lucky break.
Yeah, exactly. It'll never be like it won't be decided on just a bad decision or just bad luck or just picking the wrong thing or zigging when you should have zagged or anything like that. It'll be over the course of the season, which I really like. It is really cool, and it does show. Like we do have evidence that we didn't just like make this up out of thin air and just say this is how it's going to be. We're iterating on what we did last season with Fight Club, and how exciting it was, as Bei mentioned. Like it came down to 1 point or something. Like the Clever Girls team won at the very, very end. I remember like frantically having to add points up just to make sure that we got it right at the end. and it was just that one moment of panic. We were all watching the match, and none of us thought to add the points up. Luckily, Suitonia like figured it out. So, but that just goes to show you how exciting these things can be, and why this format is what we've chosen.
So we're talking about matches and then points. Can you guys kind of go over kind of the point system instead of the match system, I guess, if you want to like talk through that? Because I know a lot of people are used to the Alliance tournament where whoever wins that match, like the loser automatically gets eliminated. Whereas this is more of no matter what match you win or lose, you kind of go on till the very end of the season. Can you guys talk through that?
Yeah, Bei probably can because he is sort of the tournament director.
It's not something we completely finished, to be honest. The point system, as it stands, is again like this is all going to go into playtesting over the summer just to make sure we're completely happy with it. But as it stands, the point system will be the same as Fight Club, where you get 5 points for killing a battleship, 4 for killing a battlecruiser, 3 for and so on. So you even if you lose a match, you can still gain points that will take you forward in the season. So if it's a really close match and it comes down to 2 frigates left, both teams have scored quite a lot of points. And if you lose, you're going to be able to do pretty well over the season as a whole. We're going to kind of carry that on, that same idea through, although we might tweak a little bit how the points are awarded. That kind of same concept of the more explosions you create, the more points you get is going to carry through.
Alrighty, thank you. Hopefully that helps clear things up, because I know that was really different than what I was used to with watching a lot of the other like Alliance tournaments and whatnot.
Yeah, and hopefully this will remove some of the little weird restrictions that the Alliance tournament has and the Amar championships had, where they'd have this like nebulous judge that would decide, oh, if we don't think you're doing it fairly, then we can blow up your ship or something. you'll always want to, in the EVT championships setting, you'll always want to kill ships and explode. You'll never really want to necessarily kite around and avoid conflict, or come up with like a really tanky sort of setup where you don't kill anything but you don't die either. So that'll never be beneficial for you, which is what we want. As Bei was saying, we want things to explode. We want fun stuff to happen. We don't want teams sitting 30 kilometers apart from one another for 5 minutes deciding what to do next.
So
Yeah, the team. Sorry. Okay.
No, go ahead.
The two teams that did really well, Horde and Republic.
team.
I was going to say PFR. I just want to make sure I got the acronym correct. They actually kind of embraced that really, really well, and they kind of tried to. They focused less on bringing a kind of traditional one Logi, one tackle, one DPS, and a couple of control ships, kind of more traditional tournaments, and they kind of broke out that little bit box a little bit by bringing some all DPS rush setups, and I think we're going to try to kind of like all ECM kind of setup. So like I think it kind of so I think there's definitely room for kind of creativity within, even though it's fixed fittings and things, there's definitely room creativity in terms of picking ships to throw the opponent off, and coming up with something new that people haven't seen before, just from those limited pool of 60 odd ships. I think there's still room for that. So
All right, awesome. And I know Apothne came in, and Apothne was the host for the Fight Club last season. So we talked a little bit about people wanting to apply or getting new staff on the team and like helping people out if they wanted to help participate and just kind of work with the EVT team. So Apothne, I'm gonna lead you with that question. I know you helped interview people last season, especially commentators. If you want to talk about kind of what you're looking for or what people can expect when they come on, if you want to go with that.
Sure. So, from the Collides format, we just used the casters from the Alliance tournament because all of us were up for it. When it came to doing Fight Club was supposed to represent, new players coming in, teams we hadn't seen before, pilots we hadn't seen before. So Nash and I decided, along with the other guys, that we wanted kind of new casters and to give the opportunity for new talent to come in. So in December of last year, I sent out a Reddit post saying, hey, anybody who wants to get involved, apply. I had about 10 to 12 applicants, 4 of which got in the end. And generally the application process, when I ran it, I don't know who's running it this time around, looked like you started by just sending a mail in with why you like tournaments, what tournament experience you have, just kind of convince me or whoever the interviewer is going to be that you A, can know what you're talking about, and B, that you have a genuine passion for this and you're not going to be kind of an apathetic nerd making snide comments from the sidelines, which can be funny sometimes, but you really do want people with a passion. Nash just said in chat that I'll probably do the interviews. Hey, I have a job next season. Great. Anyway, so those of you that are wondering what experience to have and the best way to get in is, I would say, just practice casting. So do it to yourself. Just bring up an old AT VOD. They're all on YouTube, and just talk to yourself, record yourself. It's horrible listening to yourself talk, but that's a great way to get practice. If any of you have any experience in doing drama or theatre performance in your real life, then even at the school level, that can be super helpful. And generally just be able to just keep talking, be able to have opinions, be able to listen and react to whoever you're casting with, which is a massive skill. You don't just want somebody who's kind of a one-person voice and can't really work with anyone. You need to be able to listen to other people, so maybe practice casting with a friend. Cast your friends playing Dota. It doesn't matter what game it is. Cast your friends, cast your fucking Rome you're on to yourself. Just do practice. Read up on the tournament scene. Just get involved. Be passionate, and we'll give you a job.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. We're really lucky that Apothne is doing interviews, because if it was up to me, I would just make people watch World Star Hip Hop Vine compilations and then just choose based on that. I'm not exactly sure how that would work out, but that's how I would do it, and I would find a way. Damn it. But yeah, as Apothne has mentioned, as Apothne mentioned, if you are interested in this stuff, like, we are looking for always looking for new talent and new ways, just new blood in the thing. So drop me an email or poke me on Twitter or anything like that to Elise Randolph.
Alrighty, thank you guys. And we are coming up on the end of the hour, so unless anyone has any more questions, I'm going to pause it there because I know Twitch automatically has a delay and it's really annoying. Someone asked if we can make a year-long tournament. Do you guys think that's ever possible?
I think people would probably die. I don't know if I want that blood on my hands.
I think
so
he
probably.
Toby
means,
and Nash should definitely get divorced.
so I don't think he means one tournament that lasts the whole year. I think he means like a season that lasts the whole year. So like every Sunday or every other Sunday we have a tournament.
I think he just means like 15 seasons or something, so there's never any downtime. We'll stick with 2 and see how that works. And 2 8-week tournaments, and then we'll move up from there.
Okay. All right. So with that, I'll close the stream. I'll play my outro video. No, I'm gonna play this other video.